Hey, what's going on everyone? Greg here, and the possibility of Apple holding a March event are seemingly increasing and decreasing at the same time. Apple has obviously faced a lot of road bumps. They actually just recently revised their quarterly earnings guidance for their investors. This is the second time in 2 years that Apple had to readjust its forecast, and this all has to do with the unfortunate situation in China. Not only are a large majority of Apple stores in China shutting down for sales, but the factories that produce Apple's products, like the iPhone and iPad, are either shut down or only partially open, with some reports indicating that the factories are only staffed by 10% of their regular employees. And I actually plan on covering this topic in a little bit more detail than I'm going to do in this video on my podcast GadgetCast, which is available on YouTube or any podcast listening platform. We're trying to get that channel to 1,000 subscribers, so if you like my videos, I would really appreciate it if you went ahead and subscribed to the GadgetCast channel. Again, we will be live this Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern, and you'll get more of my thoughts. Of course, I'll leave all that relevant information down in the description below, but let's get back to the video. So first things first, what can we expect from Apple's March event, and are they even going to hold one? Well, all rumors are actually saying yes, Apple will have a March event. Most of the rumors are pointing to March 31st as the date for this Apple event, and that seemingly late date gives them even more time to ramp up production for the most likely product that we will see at this event, the iPhone SE 2 or the iPhone 9, whatever you want to call it. And I know I talked about this product a lot on my channel, but to summarize it for people who don't know, the iPhone SE 2 is basically going to be a 4.7-inch iPhone, basically the iPhone 8 body with a frosted glass back like the iPhone 11 Pro, wireless charging, thicker with a bigger battery, and a A13 chip inside of it. However, there have been some slight changes from what I last reported to you, and that has to do with the camera on the iPhone SE 2. And part of the reason why we aren't expecting a delay for the iPhone SE 2 now is that Apple is choosing to stick with a 6-element lens camera design rather than the new 7-element lens that we would see on newer iPhones like the iPhone 11. And this is actually kind of disappointing to me because I was expecting that the iPhone SE 2 would be on par with the iPhone 11's wide-angle camera system. So I thought it would be getting the same hardware and software. And it looks like this camera, at least for the hardware, will be 2 generations behind with the iPhone 8. Now, even though the hardware might not be as good as the iPhone 11, because we are expecting an A13 processor inside of the iPhone SE 2, we still might see the major software enhancements over the 8's camera. Improvements like night mode, deep fusion, and just overall improvements to Apple's computational photography that will make the camera better than the iPhone 8. So I am still holding out hope because part of the appeal of the original iPhone SE was that it combined the latest processor and camera upgrades into a more affordable package, and it was the same processor and camera as the flagship iPhone at that time, the iPhone 6S, so I really thought Apple was going to go for that same formula for the iPhone SE 2. Hopefully, even if it is using a 6-element camera system rather than the 7-element, hopefully the major enhancements that they can make with computational photography and the software will make it almost as good as the iPhone 11's camera. Now, because most rumors are pointing to the iPhone SE 2 not facing any major delays, we can also expect the software for that phone to be available at the March event. Of course, I'm talking about iOS 13.4. And iOS 13.4 gets some improvements, like older phones without a notch now get the status bar in the control center. That makes a lot of sense for this brand new iPhone SE 2. And a bunch of other improvements that I will link down in the description below. But one of the major improvements to 13.4 actually has to do with the iPad, and that's when you have an external keyboard connected to the iPad, you can now remap hardware keys on the iPad to do whatever you want. This lines up with my last video where we were saying that we were expecting Apple to debut a new smart keyboard for the iPad Pro, one that uses scissor switch mechanisms. And while we are expecting that new smart keyboard, we're also expecting a brand new triple lens camera iPad Pro. And again, to summarize that device, this is a similar design to the 11 and 12.9-inch 2018 iPad Pro, except now that it will have a new triple lens camera system on the back, much like the iPhone 11 Pro, an A13X chip with rumored performance to be better than a entry-level 15-inch MacBook Pro. And now we have other details with further confirmation that this iPad Pro will include a time-of-flight sensor. And this time-of-flight sensor will help the iPad measure distances and size objects in the outside world that would lead to better application of augmented reality. However, even though we are expecting a new iPad to be shown off at the March event, this might actually face some shipment delays. DigiTime says that Apple is scheduled to launch its new iPad Pro series around March, with related suppliers already kicking off production for the model ahead of the Lunar New Year holiday. However, their output has started growing slowly after the extended Lunar New Year break in China, with shipments unlikely to peak until after April, according to industry sources. We're also getting some strange reports out of DigiTimes that Apple is planning to launch a brand new AirPods Pro Lite. That's basically all they say about them. I don't know if AirPods Pro Lite just refer to regular old AirPods and those are getting revised, or if I had to believe this DigiTimes report, I would say that AirPods Pro Lite are probably AirPods Pro form factor without all the advanced features like transparency mode and noise cancellation. I would really take those AirPods Pro Lite rumors with a fair bit of skepticism, and I definitely wouldn't expect any new versions of AirPods to be announced anytime soon. Apple can't even keep up with the demand for AirPods Pro right now due to all that trouble happening in China, so definitely don't expect any new AirPod announcements at the March event. Another product that you shouldn't expect for the March event is the AirTags. This is something that I thought would be at the March event in my last video, but now we have even more information that this is a product that is planned for Q2 or Q3, not Q1. If you don't know what AirTags are, this would be basically Apple's version of a tile tracking system that would be shaped like circular discs. They would use that brand new U1 chip that is found in the iPhone 11 to help you locate lost or missing items. I have a lot more information about AirTags in my previous March event video. If you want to know even more about this product, I will leave a link right up here. So we might see Apple kind of announce these AirTags, but they won't be available for sale later in the year. But I might actually lean against that whole notion, considering that Apple does have WWDC in June, and if they really wanted to hold off announcing a product, they know they have a second event where they could give that stage time. Another product we are expecting is a revamped version of the 13-inch MacBook Pro, and this would just basically be a MacBook Pro with a processor spec upgrade and then the addition of the brand new Magic Keyboard. It could also incorporate other things, of course, like a better thermal design and those new speakers and microphones that we have on the 16-inch MacBook Pro. But again, DigiTimes is reporting that global notebook shipments could fall up to 36% in the first quarter of 2020 due to the issues in China. Another detail we didn't know in the March event video was that Apple is also planning on bringing in the new Magic Keyboard over to the MacBook Air as well, so we might see a dual update of the 13-inch MacBook Pro and the MacBook Air if these issues in China don't lead to further delays. Another product that we were expecting for this March event was the brand new Apple headphones. We learned about this in my last March event video, and these would basically be high-end, over-the-ear headphones that would work very similar to the AirPods Pro, but with Apple branding and a focus on premium sound. This concept comes from Mr. Techboy YT from our Discord server. I will leave a link in the description for our Discord server if you want to join, and thanks Mr. Techboy for making this awesome concept. Now, I haven't heard any more rumors since that last headphones report out of Ming-Chi Kuo, but if the Apple supply chain is affecting things like AirPods, I'm not sure if we can expect this Apple headphones to be launching when I guess they would share a lot of the component similarities with AirPods Pro, like the H1 chip. Now, of course, like I detailed in my last video, we are also expecting a product red version of the Apple Watch and a update to the Apple TV, replacing the A10X processor with either the A12 or A12X processor. However, another rumor that I would like to add to this list of growing Apple products is the inclusion of a HomePod mini. The new HomePod is said to feature 2 tweeters instead of 7 in the current HomePod, resulting in lower audio quality but a more affordable price tag. Apple hasn't done anything with HomePod hardware since the release of the original HomePod 2 years ago. I don't think Apple should give up on the HomePod, and I would love to see them refocus their efforts and deliver a better product, and especially one at a more affordable price point, especially when you have other smart speaker competitors like the Amazon Echo, like the Google Home, which retail for as low as like $50 when they're not on sale. But anyway, just to reiterate, I think the products that we can expect for the March event at this point are really the iPhone SE 2 and the brand new triple lens camera system iPad Pro. Everything else is literally up in the air due to all the issues that are happening in China, and it's a factor of how fast Apple can get their supply chain back online. But anyway, hopefully this video helped you out. Please let me know in the comments below, what product are you looking forward to the most from an Apple March event? And also, do you think that Apple will even hold a March event at this point? As always, if you liked the video, make sure you leave a like. If you want to see more from my channel, well, make sure you're subscribed. If you want to hear more of my thoughts about this issue going on with Apple, make sure you check out the podcast Gadgetcast. I'll leave a link in the description, as well to links to other items if you want to help the channel out in any way. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Take care, everyone.